Okay, so in this interview, when Jonathan was asked to describe his relationship with Megan Good, and look at her sitting there with these clown shoes on, fastened extremely tight. I'm worried about her circulation. Make sure, blood is going to your pinky toe, mama. That those shoes are tight, really tight. You hear what I'm saying? But yeah, he responded to the question by saying, Megan's an angel. She's held me down like... And then look at his face as he paused when he said that, right? And in my head, I was like, please don't say it. Please don't say it. You're going to say it. You're going to say it, aren't you? And then he does. He said, like a Coretta. Megan has held him down like a Coretta. I'm so blessed to have her. That's what he said. And in my opinion, I'm like, girl, if you wanted a black civil rights figure so bad, why was you messing around with Hannah Montana and them? No shade to Grace, but I'm crying at the fact that you were in Mayoville looking for Coretta. And honestly, if someone asks your partner to describe y'all's relationship and your partner describes you as like a Coretta, like describes you as another person, or describes you, categorizes you as a specific type of person when describing the relationship, instead of actually describing you or y'all relationship, then y'all need to run. You need to run. You need to run, girl. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Okay, y'all, by this point, hopefully you already know what's up. Check my description box for not only the articles that I will be using in this video, but also my Patreon, my music. My newest EP came out in October. It's called Gag Reflex. You will want to check that out, as well as my fantasy ebook, my fantasy audiobook that, the girls are getting into. So let's talk about this interview, right? So the interviewer, Linsey Davis, asked Jonathan, why did you decide you wanted to talk now? Why are you speaking up now? And because he couldn't say, well, Disney owns ABC and they set up this whole thing to try and see if y'all are gonna eat this BS up, or if they really gotta hire someone else to play Kang, they gotta go down their list of black people. They gotta go down their diversity and inclusion list to see if they have to hire anybody else. Anyway, the reason that he gave for speaking up just now is because he said it felt like it was time, right? He said, a lot has happened in my personal life, in my career, in the culture. It's about responsibility and coming forward and being brave and giving my part of the story. That's what he said. And I'm just like, okay, but you didn't feel like it was time to speak up in court and take the stand where you could have defended yourself where it actually mattered? Like, okay, girl, all right. He said he was shocked and afraid upon hearing the verdict. He said, I'm standing there and the verdict comes down and I say, how is that possible based off the evidence, based off the prosecution's evidence, let alone our evidence? How is that possible? And I'm just like, girl, what do you mean, how is that possible? Look at the evidence that was, what do you mean? Look at the evidence that was admitted. The courts were able to use evidence from a year prior, from a situation from a year prior that happened in the UK, I think, to establish a pattern of your behavior, mama. We know that part of the evidence that was admitted, thanks to, I think, your lawyers messing up, I think in a cross-examination. We know that part of the evidence that was admitted was text messages from 2022 showing that you were urging your ex not to get medical attention in case the officials or health professionals would suspect something. You didn't want an investigation to happen. This is what your text messages say. They will ask you questions, he said to Grace. And as I don't think you actually protect us, it could lead to an investigation even if you do lie and they suspect something. Jabari then replied that she would tell doctors she bumped her head, assuring majors, why would I tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you? Of course, this is from a situation, like I said, that happened a year prior, or in 2022. So of course, it's a different situation, but like the court said, it helped to establish the text messages, other evidence helped to establish a pattern of behavior, right? And they used that in this case. You just gonna have to get real. What you mean you were surprised, And then when he was asked about those messages from 2022, Majors told the interviewer that the alleged injuries were fake and that he received her text messages the morning after an argument. I received these text messages and I was like, this is literally a nightmare. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what happened. I don't know what injuries you're talking about. And I'm just like, you don't know what's wrong or what happened, but you were in there asking her ass not to fucking go to the hospital. It's just not giving me nothing. He said, from my experience, from my point of view, a young black man in any situation with anyone, honestly, if the authorities get involved in any way, there's going to be conversation, conflict, trauma. And it's just like, okay, we love these generalized statements that, you know, in situations do make sense and are true, but I'm just like, we're looking at what your behavior, the evidence that came out in your case, the fact that you did not get your ass up there on the stand. We're looking at all of that, babes, and we're not stupid. I'm so sorry. So the interviewer said, Grace says inside the car, you hit her in the face, twisted her arm behind her back, fractured her finger. Then he responds, that did not happen. So then the interviewer's like, okay, so how did these injuries happen? How did these injuries come about? And he paused for a long time and then said, I wish that I knew. That would give clarity. That would give some kind of peace. But then later on, he was asked, do you feel you're not responsible for her injuries at all? And then he responded to that question by saying, I should have never been in the car. I should have never stepped out of the relationship. I'm just like, okay, girl, but that's not the question that was asked, babes. We asked you, do you feel that you're not responsible for her injuries at all? We're not asking you if you shouldn't have been in a car, you shouldn't have stepped out of the relationship, girl. He talking about I shouldn't have been in the relationship. If I'm not in the car, none of this is happening. If I'm not in the relationship, none of this is happening. If I'm man enough, brave enough to say, I want to see somebody else, or I'm done now, I'm not in the car. We're not here. I'm responsible for those things. That's what he said. So he basically just went around the question and said, well, I shouldn't have been in the car. I shouldn't have been in this relationship. It shouldn't have happened in the first place. And then the interviewer says, okay, so you're responsible for all those things. That's what you said, but none of her injuries. So she's like, you're responsible for all that, but you're not responsible for any of her injuries. And he said, well, can't say that. None of her injuries. The interviewer asked him, how were you injured? Right? Because GMA showed his injuries, I guess, which were deemed inadmissible in court. And he said, I had a scratch on my hand from clawing for the phone. At the time I had a beard and it was a fingernail scratch. So I'm just like, the way that he answers the question is so interesting, because like, how were you injured? Who did it? What was the action that was done? I had a scratch from my hand, on my hand from clawing for the phone. It's just like, okay, who clawing for the phone? Who did it to you? Whose fingernail scratched your ass? It's just like, girl, say with your chest, what's going on? How'd you get injured, babes? Now, if an abuser has wounds that their victim, and wounds is I'm using that term very loosely in this case, girl. If an alleged abuser has wounds that their victim gave him while trying to defend themselves from him, I'm gonna dismiss those injuries too, just like the court did. I'm going to dismiss those injuries in the same fashion that the court did. They brought up another story where he knocked over a candle or some shit. He was breaking shit, right? And he said he absolutely did that and that he lost his temper and that he feels bad about it. Then Linsey asked him about the Coretta Scott stuff, right? And he said, it was me trying to give an analogy of what it is I'm aspiring to be, you know, these great men, Martin, President Obama, and trying to give a reference point to that. I was attempting, and I did a terrible job at it, apparently. I was attempting to motivate, to enlighten, to give perspective as into what it was I was hoping to get out of the relationship. And, you know, of course, this obviously leads into the entire conversation about Meagan Good that I referenced in the beginning of this video, where the interviewer was just like, hey, how would you describe your relationship with Meagan? He was just like, she's held me down like a Coretta Scott king. You know, I'm blessed to have her. And it's just like, girl, I know Coretta is Coretta, like, girl, why am I in it? I feel like wherever Coretta ass is in the universe right now, she gonna link up with Harriet Tubman to see if Harriet will loan her that shotgun so she could come down here and be like, yo, what's up? Why y'all bringing my name up? You know what I mean? She gonna reconstitute herself. She gonna reincarnate, okay? And she gonna come down with Harriet's fucking gun. She gonna be like, girl, I done went to sleep in 2006, bitch. What? I keep hearing my name. Y'all keep waking me up. What the hell? Why am I in it? Why am I in it? And then all of us gonna move out her way, girl, because she got Harriet's shit in her hand. We gonna move out her way until eventually the only one standing in front of her is Jonathan Majors, and she gonna be like, it's you, nigga. Bitches came to conquer her, bitch, invoking my name like this, girl. You got to be kidding me, bro. You got to be kidding me. I'm telling you, she gonna wake up, right? and go straight to Disney and Marvel and Good Morning America and all they ass and just be like, y'all been writing my name too. Now to this bitch who has so much to say about me in the press. Get me out of here. Like I said, if your partner's over here describing you as a whole nother person, a type of person, a category of person, instead of actually describing you, girl, calling you a Coretta, girl, I'm telling you, Megan, that make you feel good? I don't know. It's just a mess. Like I said, if you wanted to defend yourself, I really think that it should have taken place on the stand in the courts where it actually mattered. Disney ass booking a place for you on Good Morning America to see whether or not we give a damn, you know what I mean? To see whether or not it goes over well with our asses. I promise you, whoever idea this was did not think that shit all the way through. Because now we making jokes about like Coretta Scott King and all that shit. Meanwhile, y'all are scrambling trying to figure out who gonna play King. It's just hang it up, get it up my face. Love y'all so much. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your comments, check my description box, and make sure that you have a good goddamn evening. Make sure you check out my series. I published the first book back in 2020. It's called Zeraxia, Wrath of the God King. Links will be in my description. It comes in ebook form as well as audiobook form. I'm working on the sequel. I'm hoping to release it next year. Here is an excerpt of it. Yeah, you can pause to read if you really want to get into it. You know what I mean? The sequel is already twice as long as the book I've already self-published. So yeah, the series is definitely coming along. But yeah, check out the first book. It's the first one in the series, so go easy on me. I was just setting everything up, you know what I mean? Figuring things out. But either way, it has a 4.9 star rating on Amazon. So yeah, you should get into it.
So lonely, insecure, they don't control me. I ain't the only, press the hole and worship me. Yeah, you can blow me. I ain't the only, you so lonely, insecure, they don't control me. Control me, boy, you can't control me.